Welcome back to our round 5 in-depth lap guide. I am Ryan. I'll be taking you guys through Misano with the Aston Martin DBR9. This is going to be a little bit lengthy, so we'll go into depth per corner, and I'll give my insight into certain techniques and stuff like that. This track and car, there are a couple different, I feel like there's a few different ways you can take these corners and what gear, and so I'll kind of be showing you guys the way I do things, but you could possibly be doing them slightly different and still be getting the same results. So we'll be getting started here. So fast forward a little bit and get to this lap here, coming up to the last sector, last few corners, and here we go to the last corner. So this car does have a lot of downforce. Your main goal is going to be to maximize that and use it as much as possible. So coming up to turn 1 here, I like to, sorry about that. Coming up to turn 1 here, I like to brake either right before the 50 board or even slightly before that. Yeah, so basically like 75. I will brake all the way into the apex. The minute I'm at the apex, I'm back on the throttle. You don't want to accelerate too much through here because your main goal is to just maintain your speed going in. If you go full throttle, what'll happen is you'll start gaining a little bit of speed, and then you have to actually somehow bleed it off in time for this really tight left-hander, which is almost impossible to do without understeering. So the reason why you want to go half throttle here is to balance the weight of the car so that when you do hit the brakes again coming up to this left-hander, the front tires don't get shocked from the weight transfer that you do when you hit the brakes. So we'll do a little bit of slow-mo here. Trail all the way in here. As soon as I know I set my speed right, I'm back to my maintenance throttle, coming out of the corner, getting rotation. The main goal is going to be to set yourself up, somewhere. You don't really want to be set up too far to the right here coming out of turn 2, because if you're set too far up to the right here, when you get on the gas and you start hitting the apex for this right-hander, you're going to have to bleed throttle and lift off, and it's just going to lose you time. So as you can tell, I'm slowly building to full throttle. I have the right line, so I'm able to stay full throttle, going all the way through here without sliding. Coming up to the next corner, I like to brake at that where the grass, well, actually it's where this red curbing somewhat ends on the outside here and where the grass starts. As soon as I don't see that anymore on my screen, I start to brake pretty much. Get the full brakes. Lead. Coming into this stadium section here. It's a little hard to see out of this, the front of this car, but you do have a lot of red curbing on the outside to use as like a gauge and marker, and you can definitely use almost all of it, so that'll help a little bit. Around the outside curb, I kind of use, it's a little hard to see, but I also use the inside red curbing here. That's completely all the way on the inside. So it's a little hard to see, but you kind of see little faint parts of it. Keep it to the right as much as possible. Same thing here. The main goal is to not be full throttle the whole time, because if you get to full throttle, what'll happen is you'll just have a little too much speed going into this left-hander as well, and that'll just set you up wrong, and you'll get a worse drive onto the straight. So I'm using the throttle to turn the car, and the minute that I know I have it turned right, I give it full throttle, and I use all the rest of the track here on the outside. Coming up to this corner here, I like to use the 100 marker as my brake marker, so I'll use it, I think it's typically right before, yeah, so right as soon as my front wing reaches the 100, I will brake. Downshifting is a bit important, so I think you can see here I'm maximizing how quick I can downshift, so boom, 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 boom. Doing it as quick as I can just to bleed speed, use the engine brake as much as possible. You are able to be on 100% brake for quite a while before the front wheels lock up, because this car does not have ABS. So the minute I start adding steering angle, I'm trailing off. As I get to my apex and start adding steering angle, I get off the brakes, use a good amount of gas to get the car rotated, and as soon as I get it rotated and pointed, I'm full throttle already. Coming out. This one's a bit tricky. There aren't really any markers for this. Me personally, I kind of gauge this based off of time rather than position, on the track. It's just a habit that I've built up over the years of doing things. I don't know if it's like my internal clock in my brain or something, but I see where I tend to brake here. I think I tend to brake with this car as soon as this inside curbing starts here. It kind of goes away. As soon as I kind of guesstimate where my front hood is, around this front curb, I'll start to brake. You can use quite a lot of brakes going in. You want to take a wider line going into it and keeping the car as straight as possible, so you can brake as hard as you can. Otherwise, if you're turning and braking at the same time, you'll lock up the front wheels. So you don't want to stay too wide, but as soon as you get your speed bled to the point where you're happy with to start turning in, you can kind of start slowly turning in. You want to still brake. As you start adding steering angle and slowing down, there's going to be a threshold of brake pressure that you can use without understeering, which seems like about 20-30% for what it is here for me. I'm not understeering really at all here. I still am using all the front grip that's available to me, even though it looks like I'm understeering. So I'm still trying to get it rotated. I've got it slowed down. Now I'm using the throttle to finish my rotation. And once I have it pointing in the right direction, I start getting to full throttle. Use all the track on the outside there. So coming down this back straight here, you can go full throttle through this corner with all the downforce you have, and then coming into this section here, I use this apex. I think I go a bit past it actually. So yeah, So I go a little bit past it, I think, before I start to brake. This was one of my faster laps, so generally in a race situation or trying to be consistent, I probably wouldn't brake that deep, just because I was, quite on the limit there. But I'm pretty much braking right at the middle of the curb or right after it, and you can slow the car down a lot. As soon as you start wanting to turn, that's when you can start letting off the brakes, and you're able to carry a lot of corner speed through here, more than you probably think. So we'll do a little full speed run through here. You can get quite a lot of rotation by, I don't know if you see how quick I'm bleeding off the brakes here. If I didn't bleed off the brakes quick enough like I did here, I wouldn't have been able to turn and make this corner. So just experiment with different things. Try and get to your max brake pressure and get away from it, and try to time that differently and see how the car steers into corners. If it understeers, if it doesn't, if you have too much speed going in and you should have used more, and it takes time to kind of figure those things out. So just experiment with those things. You can use all this red curbing here on the outside. You want to be as straight as possible when you hit the brakes for this next one, so you can slow the car down. I'm able to use full brakes for a little bit, and then I immediately have to start bleeding off. I like to hug the inside curb here as much as I can. Get that rotation with the throttle here coming out. And this car does have a good amount of rear grip, so you're able to really feel that out and get the full throttle pretty quick. here, on this lap, I think I made a little mistake. You're going to want to, I kind of turned right too much and had to end up turning left a little too much. So right here, I'm understeering a little bit. It'd probably be best if instead of going so far to the right like that, you know, you just kind of had more of a diagonal line going in and kept the car straighter so that way you'd get a little more front grip going in. So I had to, you can tell here, slow it down a little more. I had to get off the throttle because I was understeering and wait a little longer. Wait, now I know I'm going in the right direction, so now I can get back to full throttle. But normally you can at least maintain like above 50% throttle here to just maintain your speed and get to full throttle quicker. So yellow track there. I like using the 50 board here to brake, and you can downshift into second gear here if you'd like. I think on this one I did downshift into second, if I'm not mistaken. I think on other laps I've also used third. Yeah, downshift to second. So it's personal preference at that point, I think, because the gearing ratios are shorter for this car, but can hug the inside there, use all that inside curbing. And you can also extend and use even that outside red part if you'd like, but it could possibly slow you down because there are speed bumps on the exit. So that is a full lap of Misano. That lap was a 133.6. That was, you know, a push lap for me. So generally I'd probably be high 133s or low 134s, which is a good benchmark. If you guys have any questions about the lap guide or anything like that, feel free to message me on Discord. I hope this helps you guys out a lot, and I think we'll have a lot of fun with this car and track combo. I for sure like it a lot, and I could probably do it all day, so I hope you guys like it too. I will see you guys on the track battling with you, and we'll see you guys also next week for the next lap guide. Thanks, guys. See ya.